Fine. Bhavesh, you can start.
The harder the struggle, the more glorious the triumph. Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests. This is Bhavesh Vora, and today I'm going to be the Sergeant at Arms for this meeting. I'll welcome you all to STC, that is Speakers, Trainers, and Coaches Toastmasters Club meeting. A big round of applause for all of us. We at our club always ensures to give the best meeting experience, and for that we have set certain ground rules which I request each one of you to follow to the core. To avoid any distractions, please switch off your mobile phones or put it on silent mode. Please refrain yourself from talking on subjects like politics, sex, and religion. Please keep your mic on mute when you are not speaking. But I highly encourage all to please keep your videos on so that we all can see those beautiful and handsome faces out there. Please put your video off if you are leaving the meeting in between. A small disclaimer. This is just to let you all know that this meeting will be recorded, and we may use this recording for promotional purposes, such as sharing it on our website or social media channels. By joining the meeting, you agree to let us use your name, voice, and image in the recording. We want to assure that your privacy is important to us, and we will only use the recording for the purposes mentioned. If you have any concerns or questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Lastly, we want to thank you for joining us today and being a part of our community. Your presence is highly appreciated. I'm sure that you all will agree that be it a small or big organization, they all have a mission. And likewise, our club also has a collective mission. The mission of our club is to provide supportive and learning experience by which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting into greater confidence and personal growth. Today is the time to celebrate an extraordinary milestone that our club has achieved, the prestigious status of President's Distinguished Club. Let's see what's all in store for us ahead in this meeting. But I guarantee one thing, it's going to be fun-filled meeting with lots of learning. I'm very much excited. Are you? So now, without taking much of your time, let me introduce to our club president, who is also a presiding officer for today's meeting. Mansi, she is a business analyst by profession. She is a daydreamer who always loves to extend one extra mile to serve the people around. Please join your hands and welcome Toastmaster Mansi. I now announce this meeting open. Over to you, Ms. President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavesh. Good evening, dear guests and my dear fellow Toastmasters. We here as a group each Wednesday meet with a purpose where all the speakers, trainers, and coaches help each other to achieve holistic growth and progression by combating fear, developing confidence, sharpening leadership and improvisation skills, whilst building strong connections within and without the club. So that is one of the agenda we've always kept to meet as a group. I would request all the guests and the members to feel as a Toastmaster fraternity and introduce themselves. I would call upon the guests first to please introduce themselves as a Toastmasters to our club members. Anyone who would like to volunteer?
Hi, Toastmaster Mansi. I can go forward.
Sure. Toastmaster.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, sorry to keep my video off. I just came back from work, so a little tired at the moment. So I hope that that's okay. So I am the current area director for I3, and I'll be serving the club as a the Speakers, Trainers and Coaches Club, and along with 2 other clubs. So I'm really grateful to be part of this community, and I look forward to a really good meeting with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manikanta. Can we have any other guest who would like to introduce themselves?
I think it was Amrit. Yeah, this is Manikanta. I'll go next. Yeah, hi everyone. This is Toastmaster Manikanta, and I am the area director for Area E1. This is my first meeting at STC. So I heard the title said we are the only club that conducts an online meetings, and we do meetup. I read the content, so I was curious to join and experience your meeting. So looking forward to it. Over to you, Mansi. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amrit. Do we have any other guest in the meeting who would like to come upon and introduce themselves?
Yeah, I am a guest. I am a Toastmaster. Arjun here. Hello, am I audible? Okay.
Yes, Arjun,
So
go ahead.
I came here. I think I had come here through some random link 1 month ago, and then Shama then called me for this meeting. So I'm here just to see what is up.
So we hope that you will have a good time, Arjun, today, because this is a very fun-filled meeting and you will really enjoy this.
I look forward to it.
Thank you, Arjun. So with that, I would like to take up on the stage yet again as the MC of the meeting today. With that note, I would like to first share the whole flow of the meeting. Initially, we'll start the meeting with the introduction of the theme. Then we'll go forward using all the EC members who are going to talk about their contribution so far, since we've reached to a milestone and this is the first meeting I'm taking as a president, and we have an ExCom presiding officer passing on the baton to me. Then we'll go forward with the introduction of all the past as well as the new EC or the ExCom committee. Post that, we also have an exciting activity for you, which is to be run by DTM Abhijit Roy, and he'll be there as a clue master to take over the stage, and we'll have an exciting opportunity for each and everyone to talk on the activity we have lined up. Post that, we'll have some announcements as well as the GE who's going to share the report. So GE is supposed to be supported by its tag team, and we'll have all the introductions post the meeting starts. So that is about the flow of the meeting. Post that, I would like to call upon the stage Toastmaster Noor, who would like to first talk about the theme of the meeting, and we'll go ahead as discussed. Toastmaster Noor, can you please take up on the stage and talk about the theme today? Over to you, Toastmaster Noor.
Mansi, yeah, this is Nupur. Noor has not been able to join. Yeah, so I have been pinging you. So you'll have to, do the.
No problem. No
Yeah,
problem.
so please, yeah.
Okay, I'd like to open up the stage for the audience. Please help me understand what does the mean TRIUMPH stands for each one of us. Anyone? What do you understand by this word?
Repeat the word. I missed the word.
Triumphs.
Overcoming the odds.
I heard someone saying overcoming. Okay. Anything else?
Not just overcoming, it is overcoming the odds.
Odds, right. So this is the only online club which has survived, and we've reached a milestone today for a year, and that's what we are celebrating here as the victory or the triumph. So that's what we have today as a theme, and we'll go ahead with the introduction of general evaluator now, which is none other than Toastmaster Nirmit. Toastmaster Nirmit, can you please go ahead and explain your role along with your tag team as a general evaluator? Toastmaster Nirmit. Can we spotlight Toastmaster Nirmit?
Mansi,
Yeah.
Nirmit is not well, and Nirmit was not the G.
Sure.
was
I see
Noor.
her in the meeting. No
Yeah,
problem.
she's not well. She requested that she'll be here for a while and then log off. Okay. So she was initially to play the Zoom master, which that's why Kyra has taken up the role, because Nirmit is not well. G was Noor. Okay. And Noor is not here. So you can just go ahead and introduce other role players. That is timer, active listener. Active listener is Naren. Timer is Shama. So just
Really
go to the-
sorry for that. So no
Yeah.
problem. I'll
Yeah.
take over from there. Toastmaster Shama, can you please introduce your role as a timer?
So the role, hi everyone. So the role of a timer, as you know, is very important. Time is very important in everybody's life. And the role of a timer says that you cannot go beyond a certain time, right? So wherever you go beyond a certain time, I just flash the cards and remind you that, okay, you have to be at the right time and you cannot exceed the time. The cards are yellow, red, and green. So with the red card, it's absolutely no. Please take care if you see a red card anywhere. So that means you've crossed the boundaries of speaking. So that's about it.
Thank you, Shama, for explaining your role. I would like to now call upon Toastmaster Rajni to explain her role as active listener.
Mansi, active listener is being played by Naren. I just told you.
Naren, yeah.
So she
Naren,
has-
please.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Naren, please go ahead.
So I'll be playing. Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Mansi. And I'm taking up the role of active listener today. As an active listener, I'll be noting down some of the important points which our speakers and role players are quoting during their speeches. And I'll ask you, so be attentive towards the end. I'll ask you those questions and then you are supposed to answer them. So, you have to be alert, attentive, and fully here. Thank you so much.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Noor has joined, so we have a general evaluator back. Welcome, Noor.
Thank you all. Sorry, there was a meeting, urgent meeting, which was scheduled for us at office. So I had to attend the meeting. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Toastmaster Noor, for joining and taking out time for the meeting. Can you please come over the stage and speak about your role as a general evaluator?
Sure, madam. My role today as general evaluator is to observe the general proceedings of the meeting. And I'll be back in the evaluation session of this meeting to conduct the evaluation session. Overall, I'll be presenting my report after the evaluators and the role players present their report. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Toastmaster Noor. So in respect of time, I would like to call upon the outgoing VP Ed, Toastmaster Kahira and Toastmaster VG, both of you. Toastmaster Kahira is immediate past president. So first we'll have Toastmaster VG as outgoing VP Ed to give her outgoing message as well as hand over to the new ExCom member.
Vijay, you're on mute.
Very good evening, Toastmasters. It's my pleasure to address you. No, it's not yet still. Okay, unmute. Yeah. Very good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to address you today as the outgoing VP Education. I had a wonderful tenure, and I would really like to thank everyone in my club and at the area level, the district level, the division level for their support and their cooperation, for making my stint, of course, as the VP Education, a very enjoyable and a successful one, hopefully. And of course, you know, as they say, the proof of the pudding lies in the eating. And as the President's Distinguished Club, I think that speaks volumes for the present EC and especially our president, outgoing president, Kahira, for leading us from the front and really driving us to attain those goals that we had set for ourselves and even excel, so to say. So I am delighted to to introduce the incoming executive committee and starting with VP membership, TM Naren Yadav. Now, Naren is an experienced life transformation coach, growth strategist, author, speaker, change maker. He wears so many hats, and he has positively impacted hundreds of people worldwide through coaching, training, and mentoring. Now, what is his, his way? He gets people out of their comfort zone. He provides them with a different perspective and ultimately shows them how to manage their blind spots and leverage their strengths to turn their dreams into reality. And he firmly believes that dreaming can take you everywhere, but only dreaming can take you nowhere. So with such a person at the helm of our Vice President membership, I'm sure we are going to get many, many more members who he will be able to, groom into joining, or rather entice into joining our club. I would next I would like to introduce Vice President Education.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay.
Yeah, thank you. And she's stepping into my shoes, and I'm sure she's going to be absolutely competent and able to steer our club in the right direction, to push people to, complete the education goals, because she herself has won many awards as a woman in education. So I'm sure she's going to be a driving force for all of us. She has been a corporate professional with almost 25 years of work experience, turned transformational mindset coach, trainer, mentor. She also wears many hats: author, podcaster, a writer about life lessons. And I'm sure if we go to her YouTube channel, we will be able to see her at her best. So with that, I shall hand over the stage to the presiding officer.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you so much.
It's my delight.
Thank you, Vijay, for the introduction and handing over. Now, I would like to call upon the stage our immediate past president, Toastmaster Kahira, to please give her address and pass the baton to the president, the new president, for the whole term.
Sure, Mansi. However, we would like to hear about the other EC members before, like the VPPR, the treasurer, secretary, sergeant at arms. Would like to know a little bit about them before I introduce you. So would you be able to do that?
Sure. Can we have the sergeant at arms?
Is there Aditya?
Aditya is not there today.
I don't see him here. Yeah.
He's not there, but
Yeah.
you can give an introduction of him. Sorry, not Aditya, Abhishek, Aditya Dugar.
Kyra, would you like to take up on that? I mean, Aditya is not here. Sergeant at Arms and then VP Ed we are done.
So, hello everyone. So we have our, so I would really like to introduce our upcoming EC. So unfortunately, our Sergeant at Arms wasn't able to join us today due to, family commitments. However, he is a great person. He's a designer by profession. He is also a life coach. And he has been someone who very dedicatedly worked as the Vice President membership before. And he's an excellent person. So that's about our Sergeant at Arms. Then we have our treasurer, who is Toastmaster Bhavesh. Toastmaster Bhavesh, you can say hi so I can spotlight you. So Toastmaster Bhavesh is the longest serving EC member in our club. So he started off with being the Sergeant at Arms, then moved to the club secretary, and now is the treasurer of the club. He is very involved in BNI, and he is a into business. And whenever we have asked him for, to step up as Sergeant at Arms, he always stepped up. So I wish you all the best, Bhavesh, in your current position as treasurer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Toastmaster Rajni, are you there?
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. Do you have your camera on? Because I'm trying to search for people based on their camera. Okay, found you. So Toastmaster Rajni is someone who's very recently joined our club, but has been very enthusiastic about learning, taking up roles. She's a teacher by profession, and she teaches maths and science, which are both subjects which scared me when I was in school. So I would probably need some tuitions from you, Rajni ji. And she is currently our club secretary, so the document keeper. And now I would like to introduce Toastmaster Mansi. I mean, we all had a great introduction of her in the beginning of the meeting. However, Mansi, where are you? If you can put your camera on, please.
I am in Kyra. Sorry, I just kept my camera off. I'm here.
All right. So Toastmaster Mansi, as we all know, I'm not going to tell you about her profession and all because we just had her introduction about that. But I would wish you all the best, Mansi, and I wish your team also all the best. And I trust that each and every one of you, right from the president right to the Sergeant at Arms, will do justice to your roles and actively support each and every member of the executive committee as well as all members. Before I hand over, the responsibility of the president officially on camera to you again, I would like to leave you with a line: with great power comes great responsibility, by Uncle Ben from Spider-Man. And with that, I would like to pass it back to you, Mansi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kyra, for introducing our ExCom and the new ExCom members with a great message. Now, I would like to move up on to the next segment of this meeting, which is the Clue Master. So Clue Master is none other than Toastmaster Abhijit Roy. Abhijit is a leading business development and contracts team in his current organization. He has an overall experience of 13.5 plus working experience in business development, tendering, and contracts in the oil and gas sector. He is also a seasoned Toastmaster and international keynote speaker. He's delivered both online and offline seminars, workshops globally in past 5 to 6 years. He's been associated with various corporate companies and institutions for his workshops. Not only that, he has also mentored more than 50 individuals in the field of public speaking. With that introduction, I would like to call upon the stage today's Clue Master, Toastmaster and DTM, Abhijit Roy. Toastmaster Abhijit Roy, over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mansi. for that wonderful introduction. I hope a lot of people would have known a little more of me as what they probably know. If I speak low, then I would certainly want you to forgive me because I'm having a bad throat since yesterday because of the heavy weather and rains that has been happening in Noida. And that's where I hail from. But having said that, today's role is probably the first role that I'm ever played in the history of me in being in Toastmasters, Clue Master. And when Toastmaster Nupur asked me, Abhijit, would you be keen to take up the role of the Clue Master? I was clueless as to what role I would have to play. Then she said me, this is what the expectation is. And thought, well, that's even more challenging. Initially thought it would be probably a kind of table topics, but then it was more challenging. And I said, okay, let me take it up because this would be the first time ever in my history. Again, I'm repeating it, that I would play this role. This role has never been played. I've never seen this role as so-called so very intriguing. But I thought, let me make it. And Nupur was behind me, so that you have to make it more fun-filled, interesting, engaging, and a lot more. Then I probably thought, what next to do? She has set the bar too high for me, but I will never let her, let her down in terms of the expectation that the club has. Well, to say that, I'll tell you exactly what my role defines of. And trust me, I've given 30 minutes and I'm not really killing time because my role is going to be very short, but this is what it is. So as a clue master, what I will do is I will ask questions. Okay, I'll set in some kind of clues, and that would be at random, set forward in front of the entire audience members. Whosoever feels that probably that could be an answer or a response, please virtually raise your hand, or even if you want, you can raise your hand on the physical dais. Like we have set your cameras on, so you can always raise your hand, or through a virtual raise of hand. And I'll ask you to unmute yourself, and then you can attempt. Now, this questions or clues will be very much specific to the executive committee roles. Okay. Now, how will that help you, and how will that help me also to be a clue master? Is that this questions that I would be asking you all would be out of the box. I will not be thinking on my feet only to ask you these questions, but at the same time, you will also have some kind of an understanding of the role better. So this is something which we are doing it in the club because it's the first meeting of the new year, Toastmaster year, and all the newly elected ExCom members as well as the outgoing ExCom members can understand each and every role slightly better than what they know. Okay, I'm very sure that everybody is equally knowledgeable as I am. Well, I'm not that much, but I'm still saying that you all are. Just thing is that I'll try to make it slightly different from what it normally is, how it's been conducted. All right, understood? Simple. Okay, fair enough. I'll not tell you what exactly the role is. You will have to raise your hand and have to tell me what exactly the role, which executive committee role normally plays this kind of, does this kind of activities or takes up the responsibility. Okay. So this person actually goes ahead and asks you for, doesn't really brings in, well, let me put a disclaimer. Okay. Now, since it's going to be a little fun filled, I'm going to be putting in a lot of abstracts or words, which probably may not be very much activated to Toastmasters meeting. But let me tell you something. It's going to be interesting, and I'm going to be bringing in some smiles towards the end of the session. Okay. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of humor, little bit of comedy, but then let's all understand the role better. That's what we are here for, right? Okay. So I'll place a question this way. This particular individual comes in front of you to beg. Okay. Now, I'm not very sure whether he carries a bowl. Normally, you will find that on the streets, people who are very poor begging, but they ask for something. They ask for alms. They ask for money. Okay. So I would want members to please raise your hand. I'll ask you who that person is who comes to you, says that, hey, please give me something. All right.
दे दो भैया.
Since Shama has raised both hands, I'll give that an opportunity to Shama. Please, Shama, please go ahead and tell me what exactly this role is all about.
Treasurer.
Fantastic. Who is the current incoming treasurer of the club?
Coming, incoming.
My बाप, my हूँ.
Yes. So let me tell you, you probably won't end up doing this, but then this is what the role defines. Treasurer is the one, the role of a treasurer is someone who actually goes ahead and collects money or membership fees from the members. Okay. I hope, Bhavesh, you don't end up doing that anytime soon, because $15 is an amount which is going to be added to that existing $45. Okay.
I have only seen Kahira begging for, asking every other member to do some role or this role or that role. None other than any other member had ever had to beg for anything. Sorry, but it's just on the lighter note. Thank you.
Actually, Bhavesh is very correct. He is the my baap. So salute, sir. Salam sahab, mera dhyan rakhna sahab.
All right. Okay. So how many of you do love samosas or jalebis or even sweets or even snacks? How many of you love that? Yes. Nirmit says, Shama says yes. Not. What about Bajanti, Nupur, Kaira? We have Mansi as well. Okay, everybody loves samosas, right? Samosa or jalebis. Well, I'm not a very fond foodie, but in terms of having samosas, but jalebi is my favorite. Okay. So now the question that brings out here is, who is that person who actually goes as, obviously this is an online meeting, but ideally the role also defines something of that sort. Who is that person who actually goes ahead and buys the samosas and the jalebis for all the members to keep them happy during the course of the entire meeting that happens? Anyone, any guesses? And I've given you a hint. This is an online meeting. So obviously you're not going to get offline food in an online meeting. But certainly if you end up going somewhere in a physical club meeting or in a division level conference or a area contest, something, there's this set of people or an individual probably will do all the arrangements of snacks, brings you samosas, jalebis and whatnot. Okay, Bhavesh.
Sa?
Sa. And what is that full name?
Sergeant at Arms.
Sergeant at Arms. That's perfect. So that's great. So thank you so much, Bhavesh, for bringing in those samosas for all of us in this meeting. And you can all have virtual round of applause for Bhavesh. He anyways is the treasurer, so he knows how to collect money from you and give you back the samosas of your own money, right? So, well, Sergeant Arms is the one who actually takes care of all the arrangements of the logistics part of any Toastmasters meeting. So ideally, this is also a component of the logistics, because as part of logistics, it's also refreshments in a physical meeting, which is being taken care of. And in area contests, division contests, or district conferences, you have not just one, you have a set of or a team of Sergeant Arms who was part of the team to take care of all the other logistics. Now, this person will be behind you until 31st of July. They will nag you, they will push you, they will pressurize you, they will give you calls, blank calls. They will start sending you WhatsApp text. They will even, if you're not his or her friend, they will even send you friend requests on Facebook, right? But they will ensure that you renew your ... by 31st of July to avoid that $15 additional. Yes, Nupur, what is that role?
Naren.
Naren, okay, Naren.
Membership, yeah.
Membership, VP membership, fantastic.
Yes.
So Naren, you have a humongous task out here as part of STC Toastmasters to ensure that every single member goes ahead and renews their membership to avoid that extra $15 to be paid. So once you pay, you have already paid till September. So all you have to do is just pay $45. That's it. And I'm not very sure about how Toastmasters is going to look at this element of membership fees in the next term. So fingers crossed, we are hoping for the best, and let's see how it turns out to be. Now, this person does a lot of painting work, posts a lot of, is very creative, does a lot of painting work, is very artistic. And I'll tell you what, even if I am not the best person who looks very smart and classy and handsome, this person will make sure that in the flyers, he or she gets the best out of this person and demonstrate that as if like, oh, this is going to be a great person with a great meeting agenda. Shama, no, hold on. I'll ask Toastmaster Vajanti.
Of course, it's the VPPR.
And who is that person who is
Shama.
raising?
Yeah,
Shama,
Shama's going to
yes.
be, yeah.
Shama's actually doing a great job in terms of making sure that she raises the bar of SC Toastmasters, not just within the area, not the division, but District 126 at large. So well done, Shama. You're doing a great job, and continue doing the great job that you're doing.
Thank you all, because of the guidance from Kaira, Nupur, and everybody, Vajati, Naveen, Pavesh, everyone.
Okay. Now, we all have been students at some point in time when we were in school, right? A lot of time, what happened is this person used to give us homework. Classwork is anyways was part of the activity that we used to do in the class itself. But then what used to happen is, for our improvement, there used to be a lot of homework which also used to be given to us. Now we used to go home and do our homework and then come back the very next day to submit our notebooks to the class teacher or the respective subject teacher. Now this teacher actually ensures that we are learning, and we are ensuring that we establish ourselves in terms of our growth, in terms of what we are aspiring, and why we are studying in this school, in this particular class. If we do not study, we do not graduate. If we fail, if we do not qualify, we don't go up, right? So this person is very much responsible to ensure that we do things in the right way. We ensure that whatever the main purpose is for us to be onboarded with Toastmasters is done in a right manner. What's this role all about? Nirmit.
VP Education.
VP Education, fantastic. Great. Now, this individual is the Elon Musk, or probably the Bill Gates, or even you can talk about Satya Nadella or Sundar Pichai of Google. They have some connections, right? The 4 names that I've just mentioned, there are some connections amongst each other. What is that connection? What is that term these 4 people have? Yes, Bhavesh.
They are the leaders, presidents of their own organization.
They're not the presidents. They are the CEOs.
Not presidents. I mean, they are the CEOs. Yeah, so CEOs.
And CEO is what? When you call it a CEO of an organization, he's the topmost person. Similarly, in every Toastmasters club, you have a CEO who is the president, right? So as a president, the person is responsible for executing, the chief executive officer. The person is responsible for executing the entire proceedings of not just a single meeting, but to ensure that all the employees, which is the members, prima facie, are getting benefited. They are growing, so as the club is growing. If the club is growing, the area, division, district, and the Toastmasters International is growing in parallel. So that is exactly what is seen, and this person is very much responsible for each and everything. So when it comes to finances, he is the person who will be responsible. Mainly, he's heading that the funds are actually spent in the right manner and at the right place. In terms of membership, he's a person who will actually take control of all the membership renewals that's happening. BP membership is one role that's happening, but he's the one who should take the ownership or the main responsibility, ensuring that the club is in good standing. There are good quality meetings happening. in terms of the VP education role. In terms of membership, there are good number of members to maintain the club in good standing, to ensure that the funds are being spent in the right way. The sergeant is taking care of the logistics in terms of the venue. Each and every activity being carried out is the main ownership of this person, who is the club president. And I don't see Toastmaster Mansi on the screen. Toastmaster Mansi, do not hide yourself behind the curtains. You have to come in front of the screen.
I'm here, Toastmaster Ravjeet.
Do not worry, it's not Adi Purush that we are watching.
I am here, Toastmaster Abhijit.
Yes, you can very well come in on front. So this is what your role was, what I was talking about. So it is your responsibility to make sure that STC goes from where it is currently to a different paradigm location, right? So that's exactly what the CEO or the president of any Toastmasters club does. Okay, now talking about one person who is very silent. You have seen there are notorious students in the class. You've also seen some of the students who are with some of these specs or goggles, like the way Toastmaster Nupur is wearing, right? Heavy, you can say highly sophisticated, highly powered specs, right? And they will continue to write notes. What the teacher is teaching, look into the board and continue to write notes. Kaira, wait, I'm not completed. I know. See, this is how it is. A person who knows that what needs to be done, raising your hand and say, oh, okay, I have a doubt. Please clarify, and then again start writing notes. So this person, I'll define what the role is. But since Kaira, you have already raised your hand, you have got a hint of where I'm heading towards. So I'll give you an option. I'll give you the opportunity to come forward and tell me what role I was talking about.
Secretary.
Sorry?
Can you guys, secretary?
The secretary.
The club secretary.
Yes, it's the secretary, right? It's a club secretary who takes in notes of every meeting that happens, be it a physical meeting or an online meeting. And at the end of the meeting, presents with a minutes of meeting of the overall happenings in a club. And also not just that, for the benefit of everyone, you have a club meeting agenda, the flow of how the meeting will go, who are the role takers, and how every role will be performed within the stipulated time. So everything is being prepared by the sergeant, by the secretary. Here, how many of you think that this role is either played independent or is dependent on someone? So let me do one thing. Let me clarify. Let me frame the question a different way. Do you think that this role of the secretary can be played independently? That is the main question. Okay. Shama.
No, it cannot be.
And why is that?
It has to be in sync with the people of the EC, of course, along with the president, which is very important.
Okay. So you have said it is also in sync with the club president. So the secretary needs the help of the club president. Okay. I will not come back to you right now on why you mentioned the president, but I'll give options to other members to also say, if at all they feel that this is not an independent role, if at all you believe that this is not an independent role, why it is not independent, and which is that role where the secretary is dependent on. Okay, Bhavesh.
So what I understand is that we need to know about who all guests had joined the meeting, and so there are certain sections where we need to write about the guest or what agendas, what were the agendas and all those things. So, and all those things that we get to know through president only, majorly, because or the presiding officer, who is generally in the start, they interact with the visitors, those who have joined. So probably I understand that secretary needs to be in sync with president.
Okay, noted, Bhavesh. I'll come back to you and Shama slightly later, because both of you have mentioned president, and I'll talk a little more about you. Noor, can you please come forward and tell me what is your opinion?
Yeah, Abhijit, I think the nerd with the specs need to consult with the teacher, isn't it? So because the teacher is setting the classroom agenda, so the nerd has to go to the teacher to check the agenda. Yeah.
So would you like to mention that it is the VP education where the secretary is slightly dependent on?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anyone else, any other role do you think that the secretary probably would be dependent on? Can I say VP membership? Can I still say VP PR?
No,
No.
no,
Why?
because VPPR can be played independently. It is much more dependent on the VP head. You know, I have to be in connection, say, for example, here the current EC says Nupur. So if I'm connected to her, I can very well work in tandem. But Nupur has to take certain, they have to collaborate, Nupur and the president or something like that.
And what if I say, Shama, yes, the VPPR also needs to support the secretary in executing the role. Yes, Kyra.
The
Please.
brand compliance of the agenda, like whether they follow the brand colors and all of that, that needs to be checked by the VPPR.
Yes. So when the secretary actually issues the meeting agenda or the minutes of the meeting, it is the responsibility of the VPPR to ensure that the brand colors, the fonts are followed. A lot of times, a lot of clubs do not actually go ahead and do that, right? The meeting agenda, the minutes of meeting are not in place. The brand compliance is not properly maintained, and it happens with a lot of clubs. They do not really put a lot of emphasis on that. But if you want to be a club to be idolized, you'll have to follow the typical brand guidelines of each and everything that you issue. So I'm the secretary. I do not know what the brand guidelines calls for. I'll prepare the agenda. I'll get it vetted through the VPPR in parallel to ensure that the font, which is either Monotype Corsiva, no, not Monotype Corsiva, it's I'm sorry, Gotham, and it's there are some other fonts as well which are being followed, that you have to share. And also, not just that, if I have 5 people, for 5 different best role players, best TT, best speaker, best evaluator, best auxiliary role player, and best role player, in an online meeting, what you ideally do, you need those pictures to be posted on the minutes of meeting. That so-and-so role player, if you want to make it really fancy, as a secretary, the secretary will do one thing, reach out to the VPS, say that, okay, hey, Shama has gone the best role player. Kyra has got the best table topic speaker. So I need their pictures to put it on in the minutes of meeting. So I reach out to the VPP and VPPR simultaneously helps. That is one way where the VPPR supports the secretary. How come the VP membership helps? Now, there are a lot of guests who comes and participates. As a secretary, I may not be in a position to keep note of all the guests who have attended the meeting. If in my agenda, if in my minutes of meeting, if I keep track of the list of attendees, then it becomes my responsibility to reach out to the VP membership and ask as to how many members did attend and how many guests you had to address to. And that's something which I want to populate that in the minutes of meeting. So VP membership also helps in a way to help the secretary in executing the role. VP education, quite natural, because the agenda, the role player names, the duration which you have confirmed, the speaker's details, the evaluator names, everything should be ideally going in sync with the confirmation that you receive from the VP education. President, very minimal effort that the president gives in terms of the supporting the secretary. But when you as a secretary issue the agenda or issue these minutes of meeting, there's one final approval. So as a quality norm, you need to have a PCA, preparer, checker, and approver. So the secretary prepares the agenda, gets it reviewed or checked by either the VP Education or somebody from the other team members, executive committee, and finally is the approver. Approver is not nobody but the president, because since he is the highest club officer role that he or she is playing, that person needs to go through the entire agenda or the minutes of meeting to say, hey, go ahead. This is reviewed, this is checked, and this is approved. Now you can issue it. And that's where the role of the president comes. But ideally, there is no such core, you can say, intervention by the president in terms of the role of the secretary that is being played. Clear? Now, this is very simple, and I'm very sure that I can see 90% of the people who would raise their hand. 3 individuals out of the 7 ExCom roles are base camp managers. Now, if you do not know what is base camp, you can always raise your hand first and ask me. I do not know what base camp is. It's not base camp that we have it in Rishikesh for river rafting and all. Base camp is very different here. Okay, Mansi, please go ahead and tell me what base camp is all about.
No, I'm not completely aware. So I'm the one.
You're not completely aware of it. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll tell you what. We all are following the Pathways curriculum, right? When you click on Pathways, there is a term called base camp, where it is an umbrella kind of a thing where all the details of your Pathways program, all the 11 details of the 11 paths, and all the projects are kept under that umbrella. Where you go in, you select which path to choose. You also go in and file your approvals, file your level completions. Within that, if you want to document your evaluation, there is also a place where you can actually document or upload your evaluation sheets. That's also a privilege. If you're not aware, you can always go ahead and do that. I can help you at a later point of time. That is something that I could get to see it sometime later. But if you are given an evaluation from the evaluator in a PDF format, you can actually go ahead and document that for your own reference and records at any future date. That is also possible. And Basecamp is also a place where the 3 members that I called for can go ahead and approve your level completions or your path completion. Now, the question that I asked is, who are these people who have access to go ahead and approve it? That's the reason why I said Basecamp managers. Basecamp is something which is accessible to every member, but you cannot approve. So if Mansi has completed a level, I cannot go and approve Mansi's level. There are only 3 people who are authorized or who have the access to do that. Kaira, please go ahead and tell me who are those 3 people.
You can ask Bhavesh as he has raised his virtual
Okay,
hand.
Bhavesh, you can tell me one role. I'll give every option.
Yeah, I know only 2. Yeah, so I only know.
You tell me one.
President.
Perfect. You are right. Ankush, if you know.
Yeah, VP Education and the club secretary would be the 3rd one.
Okay, so I'll not count the 3rd one right now because I asked for 1, but I'll give option to, no, anyways, VP Education, let me count it. You are right. So Bhavesh said it is the president. Perfect. Number 1, Basecamp manager. Ankush, you said VP Education. Number 2, that is also right. Pragya, please unmute yourself and tell me who is the 3rd person.
VP membership?
No.
No.
Kaira, okay.
Secretary.
So Ankush, you get 2 points in bonus. I'll give you a 5-star chocolate virtually after this meeting. Okay. So it is ideally the president, the VP Education, and the club secretary who are Basecamp managers and who can approve any level or path completion by any club member. Okay. So remember that these 3 people are, but normally what happens, the first hierarchy given is to the VP Education because he or she is primarily responsible to ensure that every project, every level, because he or she is ensuring the accountability of that. So that is one which is taken care of. The second is the president, and then finally the secretary. It's either of the absence of anyone, the other person can take it. Now I'll go with 2 or 3 more questions quickly. I can see it's already 8:57 and I was given time till 8:55. If I have started late, then I can extend a little more. If you find it a little interesting, then only, otherwise you can throw me out of the meeting. Okay, now the next question is that how many paths do we have? This is a little offset question that I'm asking. And I would want everybody to be in close sync to the knowledge that we have. How many paths do we have in Toastmasters? Yes, Shama?
I'm though not very sure, but 6 to 8, somewhere in between, like 6 to 8.
Okay. Ankush, you?
11 pathways.
11 pathways. Okay, how many of you can name which are the 11 paths, sorry.
Okay. Leadership development, dynamic leadership, persuasive influence, presentation mastery, effective coaching, humorous, engaging humor, and motivational strategies. So these many I have remembered, but I need to check more.
Anything that anybody can add to if missed out?
Persuasive influence?
Yeah,
yes, I think that Ankush already covered. Anything else anybody would have missed out? Okay, let's go one by one. Ankush, number 1. I think I have not been able to count it. Go slow. Number 1.
Leadership development.
Okay.
Dynamic leadership.
Okay.
Effective coaching. Engaging humor. And motivational strategies. Presentation mastery.
Right.
Persuasive influence. And I guess one more thing is innovative planning.
Right.
That's I need to think more on.
Can I tell it?
Yes, please, Pragya.
There is also strategic relationships, team collaboration, and visionary communication.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you so much, Pragya. You get a bonus ticket to come online and onto the screen for answering those 3 questions. Perfect.
You can say it has been long that you have not seen me.
Yes, actually, it has been really long. You have been disappearing quite often. You have been hibernating, so I have not been able to catch you up with that. Yeah. But yes, now one more very important question for this perspective of the VP education. And Nupur, you'll have to be a little cautious about answering that. I'm not sure whether you are aware, but when you file an award for any individual, do you think that approving it on Basecamp only as a Basecamp manager will help you to get that award get reflected on the DCP dashboard? Do you think it is a yes? Then it's a yes. And if it's a no, then what is that additional thing that you will have to do to make sure that that award of that particular individual gets reflected on the DCP dashboard?
No clue.
Do you understand the question?
No, I understood the question, but actually I have no clue.
Okay. No, Pragya has a hint. Pragya has a hint. Just look at her face.
Okay. No, I can't guess from her face.
No worries, we'll all help you out. Ankush, you have an answer to that?
Yes. So the answer would be, we need to, after approving, so there is no connection between the Basecamp as a Basecamp manager approval and filing the award to reflect into the dashboard. To reflect the award in the dashboard, we need to file the award in the Club Central as a VP Education or President. The second point would be, we cannot file our own award. For example, if VP Education want to file their award, then VP Education cannot file their award himself or herself. Either President can file for the VP Education or Club Secretary can file their awards. So now in the Basecamp manager, we are just approving the levels, where we can see the after approving the levels, we can see our certificates of path completion or the level completion. So there are no connection between the DCP and the dashboard, the education awards, which we are seeing in the dashboard. Yeah, this is my question.
So to add to what Ankush said, Ankush, you're very right that you have to approve the levels on Basecamp, but then finally to get that award reflected on the DCP dashboard, you will have to end up filing that award on Club Central as well. You click on Club Central, then there will be something called Submit Educational Award. There will be a drop down. You select the member, select the level, and then say Submit Award. And that's how after a point of time, maybe after 24 hours or within 48 hours, the same level completion gets reflected on the DCP dashboard. But both are interconnected. If you do not approve it on Basecamp, you directly approve on Club Central, it will be an issue. There will be an error and you will probably get lost in terms of identifying why it is not getting reflected. So the very first step is to go ahead and approve it on Basecamp, where the VP Education and the president gets a notification on the email that so-and-so member has actually submitted a particular level or a path for completion. You go ahead, click on Basecamp as a Basecamp manager, the VP Education, president or the secretary, go ahead and approve it, and then come out of the pathways page, go to Club Central, click on Submit Education Awards, and then proceed. That's how the entire process gets over. So both are interrelated. Okay. Yes, Pragya?
Just to add, because this is a new club and I have mentored, never make this mistake that if you have 2 or 3 approvals in a row, you approve all 3 there and then you go to the central, you will eventually forget the names. Please note down the 3 names, because in the Club Central, you will just have a drop down. The names of submitters will not be displayed in the same way they are done in the pathway Basecamp. Right? So note down all the 3 levels, go recheck in the Basecamp or in the Club Central also, it should be showing the same level to them. And then drop down, you have to select from the drop down and then submit it.
Right. So this is a best practice that you all can follow. Pragya has very rightfully mentioned that. Shravanti, would you like to add something?
First of all, congratulations, everyone. I'm happy to be here. And I know Ankush's hand was up before mine, so I want to make sure he gets an opportunity to speak.
My hand was raised continuously, so you please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Is this, so what are we talking about? Is this an education moment or is it just discussion? Okay, I do have 3 different points that I want to add, which are not consistent with how things are in Toastmasters or how the process is. So first of all, unfortunately, there is no real automagic connection between Basecamp approval and the appearance of an education award. I want us to understand that. Toastmasters really has not made that connection yet. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, let's say I'm a Basecamp manager, and who are the 3 people who are Basecamp managers? Trivia time. Who are the 3 people again?
President.
Who are Basecamp managers?
VP and secretary.
The secretary, president.
Excellent.
VP Education.
President, VPE, and secretary, right?
Yeah.
President, VPE, and secretary. So let's say Abhijit submits an award. One of us jumps in, right? VPE typically is the person, but let's say VP is not available and one of us jumps in and we approve. Somehow we think that only then the award for Abhijit shows up in the dropdown. Let's say Abhijit submitted for leadership development level 3 completion. Abhijit's level 3 completion will show up in the dropdown regardless of the approval. I want us to understand that. So Pragya, as the VPE, can jump in and submit the award without it being approved in Basecamp, in the under pending request that only 3 people will see. So there is no real connection. So that is an error that when I say it, someone misspoke to that. So there is no connection. I want us to understand that. Now, is it good practice? No, it is not. It is not a good practice to go ahead and approve or submit an education award without it being approved in Basecamp Manager first. For this, we actually need some extraordinary coordination. And one of the things that causes confusion, and I want to put it out there for those of us who belong to multiple clubs, if we don't pay attention to changing our home club to the club that we want to give the award to, it will go to the wrong Basecamp Manager. So let's say I want to give my award to STC, but I pick Progressive Messengers. In the drop down for my home club, guess who receives the notification? The VPE and the club contact for Progressive Messengers receives it, but QTC, Pragya is going to say, I was waiting for your award, but I didn't get an approval notice. So you know what Sandra is going to do? She's going to approve and immediately submit the award for Progressive Messengers. And if we are waiting on my last level 1 for QTC to get the 4 level 1s for a point on line 1, QTC suffers because there has been a mismatch. So it might seem a little complicated, but I want us to understand that there is some disconnect, but as members, we need to understand there are many aspects in play. As an individual member, I choose my home club. I go and submit a level approval, level completion. The VP for the club that I chose as my home club receives a notification, and hopefully the VPE or is seeking help from the president or the secretary, and they submit the education award. So there are two different aspects. The other one is that when a VPE goes in to submit or a president goes in to submit, it was said, and I don't know who said it, please don't quote me, only the VP or the president can submit or the secretary can submit. That is not correct. Any officer can submit an education award for a club. Not approve, but submit. So if you're looking at your Toastmasters screens, you will see that only 3 Basecamp managers will see the pending requests tile. Only they can go approve pending requests, but anyone can submit an education award. So these are a couple of clarifications I wanted to find out. We could do a whole session and I could walk you through the screens, but I just wanted to provide that. So let's say your VP Education, President and Secretary are unavailable to submit an education award, although they are able to approve. Let's say they're all on vacation, all together, going to the Bahamas, right? Anyone, Sergeant at Arms or your VP membership or your VP PR or your treasurer can submit the education award. I know I've muddied the waters with all these clarifications, but I just wanted to make sure we had the correct understanding of all of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shravanti, for sharing in those insights. I think that's a learning for all of us. Just the one thing reason why I raised my hand was a little of curiosity on the first version of that the messages that you passed on. Well, that came with my own experience when I was a VP Education and the Pathways was enrolled, where I missed on to approve persons and members level 2 or level 3, probably don't remember that. And then I straight away jumped into Club Central and approved it. It didn't reflect on the DCP dashboard, and I was kind of curious of what really happened, why it didn't. I sent out an email to education@toastmasters.org, and they said that it's still not approved on Basecamp. So you will have to probably do an approval on Basecamp first, and then followed by Club Central. So that was the email that came through education@toastmasters.org. From since then, that has been my understanding. I'm not sure how it is.
Possibly, but that the person who responded probably said you have to do this. Following the process is one thing, how it works in the back end is another, but it's not a requirement. Unfortunately, it should be. Actually, it should be, but it's not. It's not. And Mansi has her hand up, but I do have one more thing I'd like to add just to complete our understanding. Mansi, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, just to add into, anyone can file the award part. So there are certain clubs I have been part of where only first three members, the first 3 ExCom members are allowed to do that in order to avoid certain confusion or
That is
chaos.
correct. That is actually a good practice, right? But what I'm saying is, as a club and as persons who are responsible for approving the awards, it is a best practice to make sure that only some people are handling submitting the awards. Right? If we went helter-skelter and all 8, 7+ immediate passed, all of us start submitting the awards, then we'll end up with awards that are not truly completed or approved, right? So no one should be taking the responsibility or stepping on the other person's toes. That's the best practice to follow. But my goal with letting you know is that the accurate way to interpret that is any officer has permissions or has the capacity to submit the award, while they shouldn't, because the VP is probably driving the whole education award achievement progress as well as the submission. I hope that's clear. And I wanted to add one more point. Sometimes the level completion does not reflect in the DCP. And here is the difference, right? Here is the slight difference. Level completion does not reflect in the VP because any member can only submit one type of an award for a DCP point to a particular club. I will repeat that. Any member can only give one type of award to reflect in the DCP. So I can give 2 level 2s to STC, but only one will count on the DCP. But when you look at my Triple Crown or education achievement, 2 level 2s will show up under STC. Does that make sense? So remember how lines 2 and 3 are both for level 2s on the DCP. Does anyone remember that? Line 2 on the DCP is for 2 level 2s. Line 3 on the DCP is also for 2 more level 2s.
Level 2s.
So let's say I gave 2 level 2s to STC. Line 2 will say 1 and line 3 will say 0. Line 2 will not say 2. Does that make sense? Yes. Line 2 will not say 2 just because I gave 2. Because line 2 should read 2 because we should get a check, right? We don't. Line 2 will say 1 because it's an individual member submitting 2 awards of the same type. So that for the individual member. But if we look at my education awards or the Triple Crown, 2 level 2s will show up. One from engaging humor and one for leadership development. So it'll show up under my record, but it won't show up on the DCP for a particular club. Now I could give it one to STC and one to Progressive Messengers, and I will show up in both places on the DCP. Yeah, that's the clarification. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shravanti, for adding value to whatever we all understood by the session. And just to add, there's one more, the 5th and the 6th row of the education award, you see one level 4 or level 5 or a DTM. 6th also talks about one additional level 4, level 5 or a DTM. Now, for example, now Shravanti completes her level 4, or for example, level 5, she moves on, she goes on to completing her DTM as well. So one particular award can be ticked on that particular 5th row, and the 6th, where she files a DTM, can also be adding. So what she really meant was, if I have taken 2 paths and if I completed level 2 of the 2 different paths, the same will not reflect on that particular dashboard, the same club. Only one will be counted. But if you are on different levels, it can be counted by, if I'm right, Shravanti?
That is what I said, yes. 2 of the same type of award. 2 of the same type of award. Noor, you have your hand up. I can't wait to hear your voice.
Thank you, madam. In fact, what I have noticed is that even if you submit 2 same level, for example, I submit 2 level 2s, it will still be counted in the DCP goals. It will not be that only one is counted for, let's say I submit 2 of them and total we have to meet 4 2 level 2s. And if I submit 2, both of my level 2s will be counted. We had this experience
really?
This last,
no.
last year, academic year, I did submit 2 level 2s and we got credited for 2 level 2s.
So I did. So this was what I was told by Toastmaster, because I submitted 2 level 2s and they did not show up and my club missed out on a point. So
it does show up. It does. It does.
Okay, so I
Yes.
was told by Toastmasters International, and this time we did submit, and I know that there is proof that only one counted. So I wonder if there is a discrepancy in the background. It would be, I actually have that email from Toastmasters, so maybe we should get back and make sure we get a confirmation, because this is discrepant between varied experiences.
Yeah, I think we just crossed the timing of the
Yeah,
session.
I'm really
and I
sorry
think
for
we
that.
can move
The
on. to this.
discussion was a very
Yeah.
good discussion,
Yeah.
so I refrained not to interrupt. But then, yeah, we've almost crossed the time limit of the meeting. So on that note, we can have the question answer round later on. And now I would like to just announce one thing which we are trying to plan for our next meetings. We'll be having a competition for how to rename our club. So we've been thinking how well define or the name, which is the identity of each club, we can go ahead with. And I announce it as one of the competition for all the participants who would like to give more number of suggestions to the club's name, since it's the identity. So we've been always talking about the speakers, trainers, and coaches, where we have a helpful and a supportive environment for each and every member. We would love to have other definitions of the club, maybe something related to speakers, trainers, coaches, and bring your creativity on the table. And we will be announcing the result on 12th of July. You all need to give all the suggestions to our VP Education till 8th of July. Now I would like to call upon stage our active listener to give the report and ask the specific questions as part of the whole meeting.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mansi. I've been observing and noted down few questions. Can you all hear me? Yeah, am I audible? Great. So few questions. Some of them are for fun, and some of them are definitely I want you to take care as Toastmasters and in this club. Okay. So first question, what is the profession of our new president, Toastmaster Mansi? You raise your hand and I'll ask you to answer. Okay. Okay, 2 virtual hands. Yeah, Toastmaster Pragya, you want to answer?
No, I didn't raise my hand. It was already raised.
Ah, okay. Okay, so Toastmaster Ankush.
Yeah, so she is a senior business analyst.
Okay. The business analyst. Yeah, I take your answer as senior business analyst is what you have said, which is correct. Thank you so much. Okay, so Toastmaster Kahira mentioned a quote from the movie Spider-Man. Somebody who can answer what was the quote? Yes, so yeah, Noor, I see you with your hand. Yes, Toastmaster Noor.
I think Bhavesh raised his hand before mine.
Okay,
I also-
yeah, okay, Chama.
Okay, she said that to become a good leader, you need to take responsibility.
Quite close. Let us hear from Bhavesh.
Oh no.
With power comes more responsibilities.
Yes.
Great. With great power comes great responsibility. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Bhavesh. Okay. How many individuals DTM Abhijit Roy mentored on public speaking? Yes, Toastmaster Bhavesh.
15 or 16.
Very good. So it's over 15. Okay, great. One question for fun. Why was General Evaluator Toastmaster Noor Mohammed late in today's meeting?
Oh, yes.
Noor, you don't have to answer this.
Even I.
Yes, I take. Okay, Chama.
Okay, because he was in some other meeting. He was stuck up with some.
Okay, great. Okay, last two questions. What is the last date beyond which additional $15 for the membership renewal going to be effective? Yeah, anybody?
30th of August.
Yes, correct.
So what we heard from
From the 1st of September, the new renewals cycle will start and you will have to pay $60.
50, yeah, additional $50. Okay.
Not 50, 60.
60,
Additional
60.
Yeah, additional 15 is what I mentioned.
Yeah.
So yeah, 45 plus 15. Yeah.
The treasurer is going to have you, Naren.
But the glitch here is that you can renew for 1 year. So you can still save $30.
That's a good news. Okay, one last question I have. How many parts are there in Toastmasters? I think everybody would answer this. Toastmaster Pragya.
Toast 11.
Oh, great. Great. Okay. Thank you so much. With that, I'm done and I had great time today. Back to MC Toastmaster Mansi.
Mansi, I can't hear you.
Toastmaster Bhavesh and Toastmaster Pragya. Okay, there is a tie. You both are a winner in the active listening segment.
Are you sending a 5-star to them via courier?
Pizza.
Sure.
Make it Jain then.
Yay. See?
Sweet pizza I'll send you.
Mansi, we cannot hear you.
Can't hear you, Mansi.
I think we are exceeding the time limit now highly. So we should take care of that also.
All right, I'll go ahead and I'll proceed with the general evaluation session. So Mansi, until then, kindly fix your mic. All right. So may I call upon the timer today? I know he or she is quite upset about today's meeting. Timer, could you please present your report?
Yes, the report goes as since this was a very special meeting, so the timer rules have been shifted. Shifted in the sense that we haven't timed each and every person, but yes, we have timed these segments. And the meeting did start not at the exact time as we had expected it to be. And some glitches, of course, caused us more of time. So, but still we are very much in time. And because of the joy and the pleasure that we had amongst the question answers round and plus whatever fun we are having, we did not place the cards. You know, we did not go in for red, yellow, and green, though it is ready on my screen. But it was advisable not to do that, looking at the fun and the knowledge that we have gained today. But we are very well in time if we close it within 5 minutes.
Thank you, Timer. Thank you very much for that innovative way of presenting the timer report. Yeah, thank you all. So, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, very good evening to you all. My name is Noor Muhammad. You are not able to see my face because I'm still at office and we don't have cameras here. So today is a fun-filled meeting. I enjoyed today's meeting thoroughly. Although I came in late, so don't be like me. Don't ever join meeting late. It is completely disrespectful. You're not caring about the time which others are investing, and we should respect time of others. So I sincerely apologize, first of all, for being late today for the meeting. I got held up. Nupur was actually giving me a call a couple of times. Thank you, Nupur, for that wonderful follow-up and well-prepared meeting. I think that I was certainly very impressed by the WhatsApp group which you have with all the roles, everything defined in the group description. So that's wonderfully done. So before the meeting started itself, I'm impressed with the kind of planning which went into the meeting. So kudos to STC Toastmasters for that. And I would like also to thank the outgoing ExCom for doing an incredible job. Your hard work, consistent support to the club has helped the club become a President Distinguished Club. So could you, all of us, can we put our hands together and give a round of applause to the ExCom and yourself as a club member? So I joined the meeting when the MC actually, the MC was conducting the session of when she was introducing the outgoing ExCom, and I believe that she has done justice to the way in which she expressed her gratitude and thanks to the outgoing ExCom, and also Kahira has very well introduced the incoming ExCom. Now, why it is important is because everyone in the club needs to know about who is the incoming ExCom, who are the people, what is their background, and why they are in that role. Right? So fantastically done, Kahira. It was a wonderful meeting. And I would like to applaud our Clue Master today for leaving so many clues, wonderful clues for us to learn from. We had the beggar at the first, the treasurer, the paisawala, the sergeant at arms. We had the social stalker, the VP membership. We had the painter, the VP PR. We had the teacher, the VP Ed, Elon Musk and the CEO guys, the president, the nerd with the specs, the secretary. So it was wonderfully done. So I applaud that whole session, how well he has conducted the session. So just keep in mind, just one suggestion is to be mindful of the time. So timing is very important. We need to respect time. So other than that, we had a wonderful session today. And I truly believe this club is capable of doing wonderful things. With all the wonderful people in here, I believe this club is going to places. So with that, I hand over the mic back to the MC. Mansi, are you ready with your mic? All right. It's okay. It's okay. So let's go ahead and anyone who wants to take up the role of closing the meeting.
We have the Sa, right?
I think just hand over to Sa. Bhavesh.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So thank you, Toastmasters. So before I conclude the meeting, I must say what a fun-filled and great learning session it was. Toastmaster Abhijit very well played the role of Clue Master. He, by asking various interesting questions, made us guess which EC member he was talking about. The intention was to make us understand more about the EC role, and he was bang on. So now is the time to put our best of efforts as EC members and ensure that we give the best meeting experience to all the members and guests joining us for henceforth every meeting. Finally, thanks to all the role bearers and those who directly or indirectly made this meeting an amazing experience for all of us. Thank you all once again. And now I announce this meeting adjourned for now till we meet all again next week. Thank you all.